Welcome to the 12th episode of ILCMA Local Gov Stories, the official podcast of the Illinois City County Management Association. ILCMA, the wonderful organization that Melanie, you and I are part of, and we're excited to bring another podcast to showcase the people that make our great state of Illinois and local government the great place it is to work. So, Melanie, happy 12th episode, and great to see you.
Great to see you too. Yes. And spring is in the air, is it not?
Oh,
So
I love
excited.
walking outside and it smells like spring. The baseball, Cubs are winning actually in April.
Shocking.
It's a beautiful thing. So,
Yes.
speaking of spring, we're just coming off spring break. Did you go anywhere this year?
I actually did. I got to go to Scottsdale with one of my very close friends, and we just had 5 days of pool time and dinners out with short sleeve shirts on and shorts. It was lovely. Really
That
good.
is beautiful. Scottsdale, especially this time of year, outdoor dining is phenomenal. I go down there every other year to go see my parents in the Phoenix area, and I love to visit Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And it's funny going down there. You always think this time of year, like, why do I live where I live? But then
I said
summertime
that a
in
few
Illinois,
times. I said that three
yeah,
times at least.
I
Yes.
can work in local government down here. But then summertime in Illinois, nothing beats it here. So there
True,
you go.
true. It was 95 degrees, which sounds really hot, but it did not feel hot at all. It felt absolutely perfect. It was, yeah. So I'd say, I know your parents are snowbirds. That's a thought. Snowbirding.
Yes. I
Best
think
of
I've
both
got
worlds.
4 years until retirement, and I'll be buying a place in Arizona as well.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So what about you? Did you get away for spring break?
I did not. I was actually home with my girls. My wife,
Huh.
she's a teacher, and the high
Mhm.
school she works at did a trip to Europe in their music and theater program. So a lot of the kids went to Europe to perform, and they have different venues throughout Austria that they went to. So she got to enjoy Austria for a week, and I got to enjoy being home with my two girls and
Oh,
being a
there's
single
good in
parent
that
for,
too.
yeah.
But that's exciting. What an exciting thing for young people to be able to travel that far and perform and experience that.
It is so cool. I had a chance. I went on one of these trips a few years ago at a different high school that she worked at, and it was really a neat opportunity. I never got to do that when I was in high school because I was never in any cool programs. But it's cool to see. It's cool to see the kids have an opportunity to do stuff like this and get cultured by visiting a different country and seeing what life is like outside of America, and it gives you a good perspective.
Sure does. Absolutely. Huge education on that. So today we have two wonderful individuals who joined us for interviews. We've got Sharon Schallhorn she is the Bureau County Administrator. And then Jim, that's who I interviewed. And Jim, you got to interview. Tell us.
Molly Gillespie, the Director of Communications and Outreach, or Communications and Engagement, I'm sorry, for the Village of Buffalo Grove. And Buffalo Grove is such a cool community. It's funny, after I talked to Molly, I was thinking about it. I worked at the Dominics in Buffalo Grove when I was in high school. And, that was 20 some years ago. In the community, through the years, it's a younger community in the scope of like Illinois communities. A lot of like Antioch, where I work, we were incorporated in 1892. Buffalo
Yeah.
Grove became a community, I think, in the early 50s. It was 1952 or 1954, and since then it has grown a lot. And when I was in high school, even from then till now, the development in that it's been significant. They've done it well. In this episode, we're going to talk about a chatbot they have on their website, and chatbots aren't that innovative anymore, but
Yeah.
Buffalo Groves is. So we'll
Yeah.
touch on that later in the podcast.
And it's actually funny because at a time we did some work with Buffalo Grove, and it's patterned after a man named Brett Robinson, so it's called Mr. Robinson. And I just find it so amusing because Brett was hilarious, and now he's a little chatbot. He's retired, but he's still present in Buffalo Grove, which I think is great. And then I got a chance to talk with Sharon, who is just lovely and such a strong, determined, professional, accomplished lady, who has been the Bureau County Administrator for several years, but she comes from a non-traditional background, which you'll learn more about in the interview. But first, I wanted to go over upcoming events, and we have a bunch, including conference. Now, I don't know who of you got the email on a Sunday that said register for the hotel. And guess who did? I did, because the last conference I didn't get to stay in the hotel. And I swore I would not go to another conference if I didn't stay in the hotel. And I am in the hotel. But I learned today the hotel is sold out already because there weren't a lot of rooms and we didn't get all of them. So overflow is going to be the way to go. You can find it on the website. And unfortunately, my friend Jim here, he's in the overflow.
You know, I have to give you credit, Melanie. You sent me an email right as soon as you registered, and you're
I
like, "You better."
did.
And I thought, well, the conference isn't until June. Like, there's a lot going on between now and June. I'll have time to register, and I didn't register, and I didn't get in the hotel. But I'll be at the
Oh,
Overflow
wow.
Hotel at the Hilton Garden Inn in Champaign.
Yes. Well, you'll have a bunch of friends over there again because there weren't a lot of rooms. So I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad, but I jump on those things now because I like being in the hotel. So anyway, so that's one of the previews that is in the list, but I will start the list with something coming up really soon. So ILCMA is also having a professional development event on Wednesday, May 7th, 9:30 to 11:30 called Killing Sacred Cows. It sounds like a kind of a scary headline. But we looked into that a little bit. Do you want to give a snapshot on your thoughts on that, Jim?
Yeah, first of all, it's hosted by a guy, Brooks Williams, who I'm connected with on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, you know, there's more and more municipal government professionals on LinkedIn that really have compelling accounts or good relevant posts that they put on LinkedIn. This guy's one of
Yeah.
them, but he's going to be talking about sacred cows in local government and them, things being barriers to strategic plans. And I know this is a very common thing in local government where you get everybody on the same page. And first of all, that's a lot of work to get staff and elected officials on the same page with a strategic plan. And at the end of the day, it's staff that follows the governing board's vision, but there are disruptors in that where there's sacred cows where, hey, we want to go do something, and then you start to do that something and then learn that there's exceptions and things that you shouldn't do or sacred cows that get in the way. So that's a little bit of what we'll be learning about.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for this professional development event, one of the great ones that ILCMA puts on.
Yes, and they really do. So have so many opportunities to just dig into different topics that are timely and important to everyone who works in local government. Another timely topic covered is through the idea exchange. For those of you that don't subscribe or go to those online meetings, the next one is Tuesday, May 13th. They are ironing out the details right now. Those will be up on the website very soon, but it's going to be about diversity, equity, inclusion in local government. So you definitely want to check that out if you're interested in hearing more about that. On Friday, May 16th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. is the Legacy Project Conference. That's at NIU in Naperville. That's the East Deal Road location in Naperville, which we've all been to at a time before. And got a couple more. Wednesday, May 21st. So it's getting busy. Spring is when things start to spring. So
Yes.
lots of events coming up. Wednesday, May 21st, 7 till 5. Maybe, hopefully, we'll be there that whole time. Metro Managers Golf Outing. It's at Village Links in Glen Ellen, or of Glen Ellen, in Glen Ellen. And it's a beautiful course. We played there before. So get that on your calendar, Wednesday, May 21st. And then finally, the conference. It is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this year, just as a note. Tuesday, June 3rd through Thursday, June 5th. And that is summer conference, and it is at the I Hotel Champagne. And there's overflow at the Hilton Garden Inn. That's where Jim will be.
Yes.
Just teasing you.
So the worst part is, I in my mind, I thought there is no way, and this is now two conferences in a row where I thought, oh, it's not going to sell out that quick, and it does. But that's a testament to how great these conferences are. Everybody signs up so quickly.
Yes, it's really good. It makes me feel good that people are registering early. The I know the attendance has been I believe record breaking. Like they've been, limit, like at the limit, and that's perfect. Everybody who can should. It's such a great time. And if you were able to look at one of our previous episodes, the most recent one, um, it's a recap of the conference. It actually was live at conference, and we'll be doing that again, where we get to talk to people at conference to just help recap what's going on. It's a special time for sure. So, how about we get into my interview with Sharon?
Excellent.
Okay, here we go. Hi, everyone. I am honored today to be with Sharon Schallhorn. She is the Bureau County Administrator, and she has been in this role for several years now. So, we're going to learn about Bureau County. We're going to learn about Sharon's exciting and interesting background before she became what she is today. And then we're going to learn a little bit about her role. So, Sharon, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Melanie, for this opportunity. And I'd just like to say, yes, I am board appointed as the county administrator here in Bureau County. And we have 18 county board members, and those are elected officials. But first, let me just share a few facts about Bureau County. Bureau County is located in the north central part of Illinois. We have about a population of 33,000 residents. LaSalle County is on the east of our county, and Henry County is on the west. And we have two large cities, one of them being Princeton. That's our county seat where we conduct business here at our courthouse. And Princeton has a population of about 7,600. And our next city is Spring Valley. Their population is around 5,500. And the rest of the residents belong to towns and villages here in the surrounding area. Our county is about 900 square miles in size. And just to give you a little bit more location identity, if you're familiar with the state park Starved Rock, we're about 35 miles west on I-80, and I-80 goes directly through our county. Our economy is 80% agriculture, meaning farming, mostly corn, mostly soybean, and there's always something to do here. I'll throw that in. We have a lot of events that happen in our small town villages as well as our cities too. So I encourage individuals to go online to our website, which is bureaucounty-il.gov.
Mm-hmm. And you'll have lists of events that people can come and enjoy. And
oh yes, when they land on that website, the actual tourist events or events that are happening in the towns and villages are just up in that upper right-hand corner, and they can scale through either for that current time period or in future months also.
Yeah, and Starved Rock, I'm sure, is helpful in drawing people there. I know a lot of people that go and hike and spend a few days, a week even. So that's great to have that as a tourist draw. So why don't we talk a little bit about your background prior to becoming Bureau County Administrator? So why don't we start with what brought you to this point? What is your professional background?
Yeah, county administration is a little different for me. I'm more of a non-traditional county administrator. My background is somewhat incremental, and I'll just start off and say that most of my experience is in the private public sector, meaning I have a lot of human resources, over 25 years of human resources. I have some education, and I even have a little bit of time with the military. I was overseas for 5 years, and I was teaching soldiers. My capacity overseas with the U.S. Army was as a independent contractor, and I was a biochemical testing coordinator. That's a lot to say, I know, but actually I was responsible for collecting urine for the civilians and soldiers. So I was a pea queen. Did that for 5 years, and had the opportunity to contribute to helping the Army with carrying out or keeping their missions and goals safe. Because if you're in different countries, the culture is rather different, and there's a lot of vices that individuals can get into. So my role there was more educational, and also the ability to help with the testing of the soldiers to keep them safe.
And that was in Germany, is that right?
That was in Germany, yeah.
Wow.
And
What
fast
an
forward,
interesting
yeah.
place. What an interesting place to be. I mean, just a
Oh,
totally different experience.
yes, yes, and different culture. And I think that's what ties into my ability to work with all kind of different individuals, work with people at different levels, because we're all people. And ultimately, when we work together, we reach a goal. But segue fast forward, I returned to America. It was a different time when I returned. It was after 9/11 in 2001. Yeah, I think it was, 2001. And
Mm.
I could not land a position here back in the US. And I came back or returned to the US with a newly gained formal degree. I had a public administrations degree, and I could not land a position. So ultimately what I did, because I had to take care of my fixed expenses from day to day, I started 3 businesses. I started an administrative operations business, I started a teaching business, and I started a baking business, all at the same time, so that I could
Incredible.
just maintain my living and also continue to excel in a career.
Right, right. Well, tell me a little bit about these business. I mean, starting 3 at once. I mean, I just have one and that's enough. Well, I have a second one, but a main one. But anyway, so starting 3 all at the same time. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, I was just very tenacious. I just wanted to succeed. And it was just an energy, a vibe that was within me. And since I could not, just formally just be awarded a job or land a job, I said, well, I'll just take these energies and use them to the best of my ability. And so with doing that, the administrative operations business that lended well to my past experiences, of course, with the military, of course, my experiences with human resources, hiring, actually creating policies, payroll, and then the education the education business. That was an opportunity where I worked with grant funded opportunities. It was an after school program, and then that catapulted into other arenas just from being or having the networking and exposure from teaching in that environment and teaching with other individuals. So that's really how I maintained for about 3 years. And then I took on some other private sector positions where I was managing a few offices in the healthcare industry. And then county administration, this was advertised, this county administrator position was advertised in the newspaper. And as you probably know, Melanie, the newspaper is something of the past.
Yeah,
for
that just dated you and me because I remember that when ads were in the paper for jobs. So you saw this in the paper, this
Yeah,
position.
I saw it in the paper. It encompassed quite a bit of my background, and I had not yet, of course, activated my formal degree in county administration or public administration. So I thought, okay, here's another opportunity to excel, possibly to another level, and not having really any local government experience, but having a myriad of all those other experiences in my past career opportunities. I just thought, why not? And that's how I actually learned about the position. I interviewed and landed the job.
Good for you. And yeah, I can see just based on all your different experiences, how they just come together to really give you so many skill sets that must help you today in your current role.
Absolutely. So I am board appointed meaning that it's the board hired an individual who would line up with their goals and policies. So having doing that, I am the intermediary. That means I'm in the middle, and
Mhm.
I carry out or implement, monitor the directions and decisions of the county board. So I don't want to lose anyone, but I just want to use a metaphor to describe county government. And this description is totally different in many ways, but county government is similar to a live symphony orchestra where you have different musical instrument sections. You've got your strings, you've got your wind section, you've got your brass section, you've got your percussion section. All together, when they play music from their sheets of music, they produce a dynamic sound. And then there's the board chair, and I compare that position to the conductor. And the conductor has everyone's sheet of music, and the board chair, similar to the conductor, that individual uses the music of everyone to keep them together playing in a harmonious way, or carrying the same melody. But then again, I have to speak about what my role is as the county administrator, and comparing that metaphor. My position is similar to the lead chair violinist. And if you've ever been to a live symphony, you know the violinist walks out after all the other sections are together in a group, and the violinist plays 3 or 4 notes, and the entire orchestra warms up to those 3 or 4 notes. And that is similar to my position, because I am carrying out the directions and decisions of the county board. And those sections, like the other local government elected officials, and also the board members, everyone, I'm keeping a balance with all of those individuals, and so that there is one melody.
Yeah.
So county administrators have to be able to provide effective leadership and coordination of matters and interests that come up. In my position, I recommend new processes, and also help to manage the complex administrative tasks that the county board gives directions about.
Sure. And then tell us a little bit. So, for those that aren't necessarily familiar with county government, so the administrative piece of it. So you have your board. How many individuals are on your board?
18
18.
elected county board members.
So that's a lot of
Yes.
different personalities and beliefs and visions that you have to kind of make sure like come
Yeah,
together to make
yeah.
beautiful music, right?
Keep the harmony. Keep the
Keep the
harmony.
harmony going. We don't want any
Yeah.
like sour notes in there, right? So then let's talk about the management side of things in addition, separate from your board. So you have different departments underneath the county, right? So why don't you talk about
Absolutely. Yeah.
that?
So county government, keeping in mind, county government is really an extension of our state government, and county government is responsible for carrying out the administrative tasks of the state. While you're doing that, you do have the elected officials. This is aside from the county board members, who are elected officials, but you have the elected officials that are mandated by the state government to carry out certain legislative statutes. And also you have the county board elected officials. So in all of these arenas and all of these areas and all of these offices,
Mhm.
these individuals, these offices are always helping people. They are always helping people. So that's where the county administrator position comes in and provides the leadership. We necessarily do not manage the elected officials, but we supervise over them. So over those mandatory things that those elected officials are doing, there's discretionary items that the county board must ensure that are being carried out. For instance, we have 12 departments in our courthouse here, and we have four other departments outside of the courthouse. And for day-to-day operations, the county administrator is needed to help the county board with overseeing all of these things. They are the general authority for the county in getting day-to-day responsibilities carried out. So those outside departments, those are facilities that have to be taken care of. They have to be insured. They have to have equipment. They have to have repairs. So those are just some of the things. And then, of course, employees have to be hired at these different departments. And so there's always an opportunity for people to contribute. Even though we're a county government, if individuals think about government in this way, I just say because it is a government that provides services to individuals, wherever you start, you don't necessarily have to start on the county administration level. You can start on the township or village level and contribute your talent, skills, and abilities. You can start at the city level and contribute your talent, skills, and abilities. You can even start on the county level and consider being a county board member. Wherever you start, wherever an individual starts, like myself also, you're contributing, you're giving back, you're helping people, you're resolving issues. And so that's gonna make it a better township, it's gonna make it a better village, a better city, a better county, possibly a better state, and hopefully a better country.
Incrementally, I think we can do that. And you're a great example of someone who doesn't have maybe what is considered the traditional, kind of trajectory into local government, because you bring so many different experiences. So, for anyone out there thinking about local government, you don't have to start out and have to, right out of college with your MPA, start in local government. You can do other things. And those experiences, just like Sharon, can translate into now leading a county, which is an incredibly large job, I imagine, with all of the different pieces of it,
Absolutely. I would not be the person who I am right now had it not been for ILCMA. And ILCMA, which is the Illinois City County Management Association, they help to promote professional local government management. And I believe when I took this position and I learned about ILCMA, I actually attended one of the conferences, and there was so much timely information that was provided to me, and it allowed for me to network with other city, county individuals who mirror the responsibilities, the day-to-day responsibilities that I have to carry out. And it was like a respite. It was like a breath of fresh air that you had individuals similarly doing something that you're doing. So you weren't by yourself, but ILCMA provides some top industry key note speakers. The conferences are wonderful. And it just breathes life back into you because these jobs are challenging. However, when you have a membership organization like ILCMA, there's a lot of resourceful information on interest, current issues that really helps prepare you and tool you with getting through your day. And I want to also give credit to my affiliate organization, which is IACA, the Illinois Association of County Administrations. Again, another well-rooted organization to help individuals in their position. And I just want to even, I just speak accolades about IACA because those individuals, they drown me in their years of experience and skills. And that's my peer group. And they're very talented individuals who are always willing to share their wealth of talent and knowledge to give support.
Yeah, it's great to have those organizations to, at times, potentially lean on. You know, there's issues and challenges all over the state of Illinois, and chances are that someone has gone through something potentially you could be going through now, or another person. And I will say that those conferences, which I attend all the time, there's just an energy there. As you said, it's a respite, and people can actually take a breath and get with people and just share ideas. And of course, the keynotes are great, the sessions are great. So yeah, conference is something everybody should be going to. The next one is in early June. You can visit ilcma.org to check the dates. And will you be there, Sharon, at the next conference?
I am planning to attend. Yes,
Good.
thank
You
you,
should be
Melanie.
there.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about your amazing role at in Bureau County, just kind of being at the center of so many individuals and different entities within the county. How long have you been there now? Since
9 years.
9 years.
9 years,
Well,
board appointed. Yes.
that's a wonderful tenure. So wishing you all success in the future. And thank you for being on ILCMA's Local Gov Stories podcast. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Well, that was impressive, Melanie. I love to hear stories of people that didn't, weren't born and raised into working in any profession that they end up in. It's always fun to see people jump around, but especially her story with being in Europe and owning three businesses. Like,
I know.
she's done everything, and being
Yeah.
able to take skill sets and apply it to becoming a county administrator, where she's been in Bureau County for a while now.
Yeah.
How cool is that? What a great, inspiring story. And Melanie, thank you for bringing that to us.
Yeah, and it's, for those of you out there who maybe are in the private sector and you have a skill set of many types, in local government, it's finance, it's HR, it's administration, it's emergency response, police, fire, it's public works, which is also emergency response a number of times, and managing infrastructure in a community. But so many skill sets can transfer into local government. And Sharon's a perfect example of that. She had all those varied experiences that just brought her to this point where she's now been there for several years, very successful, great at her work. And yeah, so it's just, I hope it opens the eyes up to people who maybe have an interest, but thought, oh, I don't belong there, so she's a good
But
example that you can
she's
belong
probably
there.
she's a great example of it could be intimidating to break into any new profession, but I think especially local government,
Yeah.
because you could get caught up in the fact like, oh, and she has her MPA, but you could have the right education, but not the experience and feel intimidated, or maybe you've got some government experience, but you don't have the formal education credentials.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, she's a good example where you could just make it work. She's got the skill sets and the right attitude, and
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
happened. I love that.
And she's got like all these elected officials around her. I'm forgetting the number off the top of my head. It's a lot. It's not like a normal, village or village board or city council where there's like 6 or 9. It's like teens, lots of elected officials to kind of keep track of and work with. And then she's got her whole staff underneath her. I mean, it's a big job being in a county. So anyway, totally impressive lady. It was really an honor to talk with Sharon. And so now we shall switch gears because we're going to hear about Mr. Robinson and the chatbot in Jim's interview with Molly.
That's right. I had a chance to talk to Molly Gillespie of the Village of Buffalo Grove. We'll jump right into the interview, but you're going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
Now, our guest today on ILCMA's Local Gov Stories podcast is Molly Gillespie, the Director of Communications and Engagement for the Village of Buffalo Grove. Molly, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
And I'm excited because we're here today to talk about a really cool tool that the Village of Buffalo Grove is using to communicate with residents and stakeholders. It's the Mr. Robinson chatbot.
Sure. I think this conversation even started before the rebrand, but just looking at, how can we improve our two-way communications with the community, so that we can also make sure that we're accessible, you know, beyond our village hall open hours. And then also make sure that we're accessible in different languages. Buffalo Grove is an extremely diverse community. I think, you know, I think there's 5 or 6 languages that are more frequently spoken here. Ukrainian, Russian, Hindi, Korean, just to name a few. So you can't just, you know, translate everything into one language. You really need to be multilingual in how we approach things. And then as we've been working to really consolidate software, so that all of our softwares can talk to each other better, if you will, and, you know, hopefully be able to do more for us. This was kind of one piece that came out. I was like, we need that kind of forward facing opportunity to interact with individuals, you know, on the web and via chat, text messaging, you know, beyond just people being able to pick up the phone and call Village Hall or email someone. And so that's where we found the chatbot vendor, and you know, they will create different chatbots for different communities. But for us, we really wanted to kind of personalize it and make it more meaningful for us. And that's kind of where the branding tied in. And Mr. Robinson himself, it kind of started out as a hey, we should do this kind of a joke, but it was like, no, really, we should do this.
Well, and I want to get in a little bit more of the details about what exactly the chatbot does. But before we do, tell me about Mr. Robinson.
Sure. So Brett Robinson is a former employee. He retired last August, but he was here for 38 years. Brett started out in high school as a draftsman intern or something like that in Public Works. And then he got hired on. He worked various roles over in Public Works, but then he really got into kind of the technical side of the water operations. And then in the, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, he moved over to Village Hall and became our purchasing director, where he really helped streamline all of our purchasing activities, and then moved on to administrative services manager, where he still was in charge of purchasing, but also all our admin services, so clerk's office, IT, and Brett also grew up in Buffalo Grove. And so he has not only the institutional knowledge within the organization, but in the community too. So you can always be like, hey, what used to be over there? Or like, he'll be like, oh, Buffalo Grove used to only go north to Aptekissick Road. He has all these stories, right? So we really kind of referred to him as the human archive. And as you can imagine, it was a little scary when we knew his retirement was coming up. And this is one of the last, you know, contracts that he helped get underway for us with the new website and Mr. Robinson. And so we really felt it was only appropriate that we somehow name it after him. And also Mr. Robinson just sounds like a friendly person that you want to talk to. And of course, having the opportunity to have the icon rather than it just being a, you know, a robot like you see on a lot of things, we thought it'd be cool to have a buffalo naturally. And then Brett, I always said he looked like a professor. He was always wearing his cardigan and he's got glasses and a goatee. So we kind of incorporated those elements into the bison icon that you see now.
That is, you know, there's this concept about having a 24-hour village hall on a website, and it's very, you know, most places it's a web page, you know, progressive places like Buffalo Grove, it's a chat bot, but you actually have a chat bot with personality and such cool history, a 38-year employee and a lifelong village resident. How cool is that? And especially when you talk about Buffalo Grove's 38 years ago, I don't even think Lake Cook Road went all the way through at that point. Buffalo Grove, for those not familiar with the community, just in the last 40 years or so has gone through tremendous growth, and you guys are a village of 43,000-ish, right?
Correct.
So, you know, and to have somebody that's been able to help with the chatbot to have input and you know, their historical knowledge is pretty cool. So tell me about how you know, Mr. Robinson's personality is incorporated into the chatbot.
Sure. So what's really nice about the chatbot is obviously we have access to see what questions people are asking, what answers the chatbot is giving. And that's something that we need to continually evaluate so that we can, if there's something that needs to be tweaked, we can do that. But we wanted to have some fun with it too and kind of program in some responses that actually were from Brett Robinson. So if you ask, you know, the chatbot, what his favorite pizza is or favorite food. Ask him to tell you a story. He'll talk about his tenure with the village. So we found little ways to kind of work in that personal element too into the responses. But again, it's been a really fun project, and I think he was very excited about it too, even if he didn't show it.
Look at cool. You know, over the years, I've known lots of people to retire from municipal government that leave a cool legacy, but this has got to be one of the coolest, you know, in something that's going to live on for a long time. How has the resident reaction been, or what kind of feedback do you get about Mr. Robinson?
Overall, it's been good. I mean, we haven't really marketed him too much because we're continually to go in there and refine answers. But we're looking forward to pushing out our text alerts option here in the coming months, and I believe we'll get a lot more engagement that way. Right now, it's served a great purpose as being that place where people can access 24/7. We do have people using multiple languages. And then, you know, you can actually see kind of how long someone will continue to engage with the chatbot. Some people will actually kind of talk to it like it's their friend. There may have been one person flirting with the chatbot. I don't know. And then some of them could get frustrated if they don't get the answer, right? So it's good to see all of those things so that we can continue to be like, okay, what keywords do we need to make sure that we're adapting? And then I know we're going to get in kind of the website as well, but you know, a big part of that was making sure that our website was completely up to date before we launched the bot as well. And we did a lot of internal and external testing as well.
So we're almost out of time, but tell me a little bit about like how Mr. Robinson works as far as getting data. And it sounds like you're able to continuously update, or, you know, based on what people are searching for, add more information.
Yeah, so the chatbot has its own knowledge base, so it's not just gonna like, you know, search Google to find things. This is very specific to local government and then to information that we have made available on our website. As well as we had an internal team across departments really brainstorm what those, you know, frequently asked questions are that we get, and generate the responses that it could auto-populate if it needs to direct someone somewhere to, you know, report a service need or request. We're able to do that. And then over time, as we continue to integrate more and more of our software, hopefully Mr. Robinson can do even more. Like instead of just taking you to the reporting portal, it can actually make the report for you and give you a case number and whatnot. So we're looking forward to seeing the future of Mr. Robinson and what it'll be able to do even more for all of our residents and businesses.
What a cool feature for residents and just everybody in the community. Our guest today, Molly Gillespie, Buffalo Grove Director of Communications and Engagement. Molly, if someone wants to check out Mr. Robinson, what's the web address to go to?
Sure, it's vbg.org, short for Village of Buffalo Grove.
Oh, very easy to find. Well, Molly, thank you so much. Is there anything we didn't touch on that you needed to make sure to mention when talking about Mr. Robinson?
No, I think just some of these are, you know, newer ideas, and the more that you can get your, you know, your leadership, your village board or city council to kind of understand where you're going long term, that's when you can start implementing some of these small steps to get there.
Well, Molly, this is a great example of not only incorporating the village leadership and residents to get all on the same page about a project, a very thorough rebranding and website project that has this cool chatbot as a result of it. But also I'm impressed with the implementation and how quickly things moved along. There's sometimes, and I've been part of projects that seem to linger forever, but you guys seem to have a clear goal and got it done. So that right there is very impressive. But the Mr. Robinson chatbot, I would suggest folks check it out. bg.org is the website, and play around with it. And then, Molly, I have a feeling you'll be getting some emails asking about how other villages can do this too. So you'll be a chatbot salesperson. But Molly again, the Director of Communications and Engagement for the Village of Buffalo Grove, thank you for joining us on Local Gov Stories.
Thank you, Jim. It was a pleasure.
Well, that was an awesome interview, and you don't get an awesome interview without awesome people on the interview. Molly does a great job in Buffalo Grove, and it's so interesting to hear more about Brett. I mean, I knew the guy. He was hilarious. Like, and it looks like Brett a lot, like his little goatee and his sweater. Like he had kind of a Mr. Robinson sweater, or no, Mr. Rogers sweater, but Mr. Robinson. And it's so funny, and it's interesting how it can be a little bit personalized. Like it can ask you like personal questions, like what's your favorite, whatever. So I love that. But in addition to the fun part, like really helping the village to stay connected with residents and provide information they're looking for, in a more of an automated way, that obviously takes some load off of the personnel, having to answer 24 hours a day, so love it. That was a great interview.
Yeah, Buffalo Grove and Molly spearheaded all of this. They did a really good job, like taking something and make it like a chat bot. Again, it's not that innovative anymore, but with the way they did it is, and we heard that from Molly how they personalized it. And kudos to her, they went through a whole branding initiative and a new website and this
Yeah,
all at the same time. And she still has her hair. I don't know how that happens, but
she does. She has very pretty hair, actually. No, she's done a ton. Oh my gosh, the rebranding, new website, Mr. Robinson, and so much more. She does a great job. So, switching gears, one more reminder, everybody. Conference is coming up. So,
it will be here before you know it. And the
oh,
hotels are already filling up. So the I
mhm.
Hotel, like Melanie mentions, already booked up. So register and stay with me at the Hilton Garden Inn in Champaign.
I mean, not with him, but in the
Oh,
same hotel as
the same hotel.
that almost sounded improper. No, just but yeah, you just go to ilcma.org and conferences is right there, and it's really easy to go down, and the information about hotels is right there. So register today, join us over in Champaign, and very good to see everybody today. We're glad to be here for ILCMA, and until next time, bye.